Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hey, folks, today is Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'm here in Atlanta for the Steve Harvey Golf Tournament. Just landed here in Atlanta. A lot of good stuff we want to talk about. President Biden announces a crackdown on folks crossing the border all across the country. But this is upsetting immigration activists. We'll talk to one on the show. We'll talk to the attorney of one of the three black men who is suing American Airlines. Also on today's show, Attorney General Merrick Garland goes to Capitol Hill, and he has some words for Republicans who keep trashing the Justice Department. Also, a look back at the Black Wall Street Legacy Festival in Tulsa from this weekend. That and more. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time, and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
All right, folks, President Joe Biden has announced a new border order We've had more than 4,000 crossings on the border, and so if it hits a certain level, they're going to shut it down to keep folks from applying for asylum. President Biden made this announcement today.
Come here today to do what the Republicans in Congress refuse to do. Take the necessary steps to secure our border. 4 months ago, after weeks of intense negotiation between my staff and Democrats and Republicans, we came to a clear bipartisan deal. It was the strongest border security agreement in decades. But then, Republicans in Congress, not all, but walked away from it. Why? Because Donald Trump told them to. He told the Republicans, it has been published widely by many of you, that he didn't want to fix the issue. He wanted to use it to attack me. That's what he wanted to do. It was a cynical and an extremely cynical political move, and a complete disservice to the American people who are looking for us to not to weaponize the border, but to fix it. Today, I'm joined by a bipartisan group of governors, members of Congress, mayors, law enforcement officials, most of whom live and work along the southern border. They know the border is not a political issue to be weaponized. The responsibility we have to share, to do something about it. They don't have time for the games played in Washington, and neither do the American people. So today, I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Frankly, I would have preferred to address this issue through bipartisan legislation, because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken, fixed, to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges. But Republicans have left me no choice. Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum. Migrants will be restricted from receiving asylum at our southern border unless they seek it after entering through an established lawful process. And those who seek to come to the United States legally, for example, by making an appointment and coming to a port of entry, asylum will still be available to them, still available. But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States. This action will help us to gain control of our border, restore order into the process. This ban will remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage.
All right, folks, immigrant rights activist Janae Joseph joins us from Chicago. Janae, glad to have you here. First of all, what do you make of this announcement? Obviously, this is in response to pressure from Republicans. This is an election year, and it's a huge contentious issue.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Roland. First and foremost, you're right. This is a re-election push. This is something that he's doing a few weeks ahead of the first ever presidential debate that will take place between him and Donald J. Trump. But I also want to be perfectly clear that this is also one more reason as to which Joe Biden will not be president come 2024. When you do things like this and you propagate being morally inconsistent, I want to be clear that this isn't the first time that we've seen a president do this. The last time that we saw a president enact 212F, which is a section of the Immigration and Nationality Act, was Donald J. Trump. And at the time in which he used this presidential authority to act on behalf of immigration, Joe Biden called his actions inhumane. The Democratic Party denounced his actions in utilizing the executive order to be able to act to stop asylum seekers from being able to come to the southern border and said that it was inhumane. So if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then that means it's inhumane, right? And so it doesn't make sense that you were able to criticize the former twice impeached president of the United States and now do the exact same thing and feel that members of your base are going to continue to support you. It does not work like that. It is morally inconsistent. And in my opinion, one more reason, in addition to the conflict and the genocide happening to the Palestinian people, as to why Joe Biden will not be reelected president of the United States.
But explain to people why it's inhumane, because this is a major issue. It is a contentious issue. We are seeing, as a result of Republican governors shipping people to cities like Chicago, New York City, you have African Americans who are pissed off because of what has happened here. And so how is it inhumane when you have Republicans, but you have a lot of Democrats who are saying we have a massive immigration problem and we cannot sustain this number of crossings across the border?
And so that's why you create a pathway to citizenship. That's why you allow people to be pardoned, right? There's things that could have been done for the documented population, of which I am one. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which was an executive order done under the Obama administration, in which we're coming up on its anniversary in the next week, was meant to be a temporary solution to a long-standing problem. That long-standing problem being a lack of comprehensive immigration reform. And at the time, it was said that we were going to do DACA now and then create a pathway to citizenship. And what did we see? We see that there was a continual refusal from the Obama administration at the time to be able to act on behalf of Congress to make a pathway to citizenship. He said that it would wait until the second term. And what did we see? The first time in which we had full control of Congress, both houses, and then in the second term in which he became a lame duck, where he couldn't really do anything on behalf of policy, right? So it's this continual refusal by members of the Democratic Party to really take bold action to be able to support members of the immigrant community. And I get it. People are rightfully upset. People are feeling as though this is a major crisis, but it isn't a new issue, right? If we were to be able to place people on a pathway to citizenship, then this would look entirely different. As a member of the DACA community, we're expected to pay X amount of dollars every 2 years that provides us with temporary status to be able to work in this country. And yet we continue to pay our taxpayer dollars. I continue to pay for these application fees. And yet I get nothing in return, right? So there's millions and billions of dollars that are being generated by undocumented immigrants in this country. But yet we're continually told that we're taking and extracting resources from local, state, and federal government, when in fact that's not the truth, right? As a documented person, as an undocumented person, there is no social resource that I've had the privilege of being able to get. So there's a lot of misinformation that continues to be pushed. And so if we have the Democratic Party saying that they stand in solidarity with the immigrant community, then you need to remain consistent in your stance. And I get it that there's an election to win. I am not, oblivious to that fact. But when you lose your base, then how could you start to act on behalf of the middle ground if you've lost those who are at the root of the communities that you need to mobilize for? And so when people are continually not happy with the actions that you're leading, and not just are we not happy with his actions, you are perpetuating the very same things that you called the former twice impeached president of being inhumane for doing. And you're doing the exact same thing, right? So trauma by another name done by another individual does not make it right. And what we're seeing is him perpetuating the same things that Donald Trump perpetuated as president, and it's not acceptable.
So in the absence of Congress by the United States Senate, as he said, there was a deal. Donald Trump told Republicans don't support it. Then what? Because something has to be done. When you look at polling data, it is a serious issue. And so if not this, then what in the absence of Congress actually doing something?
Well, I think that's where it comes that you need to fortify protections for existing communities, right? There's members of the TPS community, right, who are coming from countries like Haiti. There's individuals who have DED. There's also members of the documented community. Fortify existing protections for those who have temporary status. And then also, I want to be clear that asylum is a fundamental human right, not just within the United States, but across the globe. So this is a departure, right? This is something that has historically stood, that individuals can present themselves at the southern border and be able to do so legally within their rights to do so. So this is a departure from long-standing policy. So it's not the first time that we've seen an influx at the border. And I want to be clear, it's not an influx. It's just that the Republicans have done a darn good job of making it seem as though it's a Biden problem versus something that has long been in existence, but they've successfully utilized their marketing strategy. What they need to do is push back and say that this is just nothing new. It's business as usual. And the reason that people are fleeing, I want to be perfectly clear about that, because it's not fair that immigrants, undocumented immigrants in particular, continue to be used as pawns in this political game, right? There's real lives at stake. There's children. There's people who are fleeing political violence, people who cannot safely remain in their countries of origin. People aren't leaving because they simply want to go on a vacation or they want to be in the United States of America based upon the movies that they've seen and the ways in which they've seen it depicted. People are leaving because they're fleeing violence. They're fleeing political instability. They're fleeing poverty, right? So let's be clear about that. And the problem isn't individuals who are impacted by these issues. The problem is that politicians continue to push this issue down the road versus actually acting on it and being able to create long-term solutions, and in addition, fortifying protections for existing communities, which is feasible. In the same way in which Biden is now making an executive order saying that he's stopping the individuals who are able to seek asylum at the southern border, is the same way in which he could act in a way that Ronald Reagan did, and give amnesty, right? So the same things that you're saying impossible, you're clearly proven by way of 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act that it is feasible for the President of the United States to be able to act broadly on behalf of immigration. So if Congress isn't acting and you're going to be able to use your presidential powers by way of executive order, why not utilize it for good instead of versus using it for evil, which is prohibiting certain communities who are in dire need from being able to seek asylum, which is one of their fundamental human rights.
Question from Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali.
Yeah, well, thank you for all the work that you're doing. This is an incredibly important issue. I think one of the most difficult things is many folks who would get behind making sure that we have a fair and just immigration system have often been fed the misinformation that they're going to lose jobs and opportunities. Can you educate folks on how that is a false construct and that, folks for hundreds of years have been trying to come to this country for a better life?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that question. When I think of the entrepreneurs, the immigrant entrepreneurs that we work with, immigrant entrepreneurs generate nearly $800 million in revenue per year. Of the documented population generates additional millions, if not billions of dollars per year. They pay into this nation's social security infrastructure in which we cannot get back, right? So all of these social welfare programs that are being provided in this nation, we are unable to benefit from. I mentioned earlier, as a member of the documented community, which is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, we have to renew every 2 years. And sometimes, in fact, it's actually every year. So we're having to pay $495 to be able to get temporary status in this country so that we could work and pay taxes in which we might never get back, right? So I think the argument, you're right about that has been made, and it has been made so often that unfortunately it is stuck. And it is stuck with members of the Black community. It is stuck with members of the AAPI community who are saying, why do we need these immigrants here when they're stealing our jobs? Let's be perfectly clear. A lot of the industries in which we see immigrants supporting are industries in which Americans will not fill those gaps of doing, right? So I always tell people, if someone can come to the United States of America without potentially a U.S. degree, without work authorization, and steal your job, then we have another problem, right? So our problem should not be one another. Our problem should be the system that continues to perpetuate inequity amongst us all. And if we simply were to mobilize collectively, we would realize that our problem really isn't with one another. It's breaking down these systems that prohibits people from actually being able to thrive time versus just survive in this country that we call home.
Joy Cheney.
Hi. So thank you so much for the work that you are doing. And you have really spoken to the issues that the administration has faced as it's tried to deal with this issue, and not just this administration, but other Democratic administrations before them, is that there has to be a Congress that's willing. I worked in the Senate when we were trying to get comprehensive immigration reform done more than, almost 15 years ago at this point. And we just had a major failure here. What do you say as a practical matter about asylum seekers? What is the answer if you've tried to do everything and you've also tried to have executive actions that have been invalidated in the courts and thrown us into a lot of confusion? People here who are now having uncertain status. Because I understand your anger and hurt, but I don't know what the practical solution here is, especially if you're suggesting that we should have a Donald Trump administration instead of a Joe Biden administration. It's not going to get better under him. That's the first question. And the second one is, a lot of Americans disagree with you. And so what do you say if you are Joe Biden, if you are a Democrat, and you are listening to the vast majority of your voters who are saying they have a problem, they are concerned about undocumented immigration here, illegal immigration? What do you say to them? And your point about DACA, how is that distinguished between those who would be coming here illegally through asylum? I know that's a lot of questions, but I want to make sure that we are challenging you on some of the points because I think it's fair to do so.
Absolutely. And I want to be perfectly clear. I am not supporting a Trump administration over that of a Biden administration. So thank you so much for raising that to allow me to clarify. I am someone who is an immigrant from Belize, Central America. I immigrated to this country at the age of 7 years old. I am an undocumented Black woman, one of approximately 619,000 undocumented Black people in the United States of America. I am someone who has been the vice president of a Democratic organization in the past. I am someone who has championed on behalf of Democratic leaders and continue to do so. What I'm doing is saying that I am an equal opportunity protester, meaning that simply because I align with the Democratic Party does not mean that I'm going to continue to applaud when it's doing things that are destructive to the community. And actually, you just said that the vast majority of the American population is not in support of a pathway to citizenship, and that's actually false. The vast majority of the American population, more than 90% of the American population, is in support of a pathway to citizenship in this country. Not just for members of the documented population, but members of the 11.5 million undocumented people that continue to call this country home. So in regards to the asylum issue, I want to be perfectly clear about that. No one is saying that there needs to be open doors in which people can come through. What we're saying is allow people to be able to do what they've been doing historically, which is presenting themselves in order to get a potential asylum hearing, in order to get their stories vetted. I want to be very clear because I think there's a misconception around what the process of seeking asylum actually looks like. In order to seek asylum, especially in the largest hegemonic power, which is the United States of America, it is extremely difficult to do so. That is no small feat in order to get asylum in this country. One would have to be able to prove the manners in which they're being harmed, the ways in which they're being targeted politically, physically, whatever their obstacles are, they would be able to have to get vetted. The individuals in which they'd potentially be staying with will also have to be vetted, right? The documentations in which they're presenting to both Customs and Border Patrol will have to be vetted. So it's not an easy process that people have to go through in order to become asylum recipients in this country. What I am saying is that it is realistic to still allow people to continue with a fundamental human right of seeking asylum. This is not something that is new. This is something that is continued throughout the dawn of time, in which people can present themselves not just at the southern border, but all other portions ports of entries and see whether or not their claims for asylum are actually based upon grounds that are going to be recognized in this country, right? So what we're saying is allow people to be able to continue with the process for seeking asylum. They've already placed restrictions on who could come and present themselves in order to have their asylum cases heard, right? So there's certain procedures that can be done without you providing a blanket statement that says after 2,500 people per day have presented themselves at ports of entries across the United States, that no cases will be heard for the remainder of that time simply because a quota has been met. All I'm saying is to allow people to continue to go through the due process of seeking asylum, do so in a manner that they feel is equitable to the vetting process, and then go from there in allowing it to happen. That's all we're asking, right? What I'm calling out, of course, who wouldn't rather that we have someone who is in line with supporting the issues that are fundamental to the immigrant community? What I'm calling out is the moral inconsistency of this administration. You cannot proclaim to be a champion, right? At the time, for instance, when he was then candidate Biden, he continued to say that he's going to continually support members of the undocumented community. But this is a slap in the face, right? What allows the Republican Party to be successful, whether or not you agree with that, in my political overview, that is something that they've managed to do incredibly well. They do not care about whether or not members of the Democratic Party support the policies that they're pushing or that they're trying to reach actualization for. They just do it. The difference is members of the Democratic Party historically were always worried about what the Republican Party will have to say if we exact broad sweeping things like utilizing the presidential executive order powers. Why do we care about what they have to say so long as though it's making sure that members of our communities are actually having what they need to thrive and to be able to succeed in a country that they so greatly already contribute to?
The only thing
Larry
I would
Walker.
say
One second. I got to go to Dr. Larry Walker.
okay, all right.
Yeah. So, thank you for your analysis. I think it's really important. Like I said, this is a critical conversation, particularly during an election year. And I guess my question is, you kind of highlight, Roland highlighted, you mentioned it, some of my colleagues mentioned it. It's an election year. So I guess ultimately, how do you win the propaganda war? You talked about, and yeah, you're right. Over the last several years, you've seen, data that shows that Americans support some kind of pathway to citizenship for those who are undocumented. But the question is, how do you win I use propaganda. How do you win the message war, whether it's for Democrats or Republicans? Like you said, we already generally know how Republicans feel about this issue. But how do you win the message war in an election year on such an important issue?
Thank you for that fantastic question. And having the public policy background that I do, the way that you win is by remaining consistent to those in which you made promises to, right? Because I think the problem is if we already knew that that was the stance that he was going to take, that's one thing. But you can't, in the same ways that members of the Black community, the African American community, have been, upset at the lack of policy action that fortifies support for our community as well here in the United States, right? Many communities are dissatisfied with the job at hand. And it's not just because we're upset about certain rhetoric that's being used or the lack thereof. We're upset because there's a lack of concrete policy. There's a lack of advocacy. I understand the dynamics of our Congress. I am not oblivious to what's currently going on in both houses of our Congress, right? That is something that unfortunately, as a member of the immigrant community, that my life is greatly impacted by. On a day-by-day basis, we live in fear of what the Supreme Court, what the circuit courts could potentially do. And most importantly, what Congress is failing to do, right? in the same way that Black, Indigenous, people of color are also upset at this administration for a lack of movement on so many things, in regards to poverty, in regards to ensuring that we have a more equitable society, in regards to home ownership, in regards to how the economy is performing. There are so many things. But the way that you win is by remaining true to your base. I think what this administration is failing to do, and I kind of hit on it a little bit earlier, is that and I want to be perfectly clear. I don't want anyone to say that this girl supports the former twice impeached president of the United States. I absolutely do not. I vehemently do not. However, what I am is a realist, right? And I want to be clear about what they do and clearly what they do well. When he was in power, what did he do? He utilized executive orders until he couldn't anymore, right? He did that. He acted almost entirely in his last year based upon executive orders. And he could care less what it was that the Supreme Court had to say about it, because he was acting to make sure he did what were some of the promises that he made to his base. The difference is we are experiencing an administration that, in an attempt to win, what they think they're going to do is successfully win over those who are in the middle. How are you going to win those in the middle when you're not even remaining true to the people in which are a part of your base that you made your original promises to, right? It's just a lot of inconsistency. So I think the way that you win that so-called propaganda war, which it is, you're right about that. They're launching things around CRT, around abortion rights, around so many other issues that they're saying the same things over and over that they're starting to stick. However, if you focus on your base and you make sure, and I understand you might not be able to act in regards to policy on those things, but so long as we see and feel your advocacy and your support, there is something that does. Now, when you're not acting politically, you're not acting by executive order, and you're also propagating the same problematic language and rhetoric that you deemed harmful by the former twice impeached president, now you're losing us across the board.
All right. Well. First of all, we'll see what polling looks like in the next few weeks in the wake of this decision. Deanna and Joseph, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Folks, when we come back, we're going to talk about the case of 3 Black men who are suing American Airlines for discrimination. That more right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, live from Atlanta. Back in a moment.
Somebody's killing poor people, and it's going on.
When COVID happened, poor people were dying at a rate already of 800 people a day. Before COVID, if you went to a funeral every single day, it would take you 600 years to attend all the funerals of the people who will die from the ravages of policy violence, poverty, and low wages in America in just 1 year. It would take you 2 years and 19 days to go to all of the funerals of the people that will die today, and oftentimes silence. Nobody talks about this political genocide, but we are determined today to remember their death and be a resurrection of voting power and voice power like never before.
Economic justice and saving this democracy are deeply connected. We, as a nation, must listen to the demands of the poor, who are pushing and will continue to push political candidates and elected leaders to lift from the bottom so that everybody can rise.
We are the poor, the marginalized, and the underpaid. And we are taking one step forward to say that everybody has a right to live.
Poverty is not the fault of those who are impoverished. It is caused by those who make the policy.
There are over 135 million poor and low-wage, low-income people in this nation.
The biggest block of potential voters by far is low-income, low-wage voters.
I can't afford medicine. Sometimes I have to skip because of the cost.
The farm worker community is tired of the violence imposed upon us by greed, exclusion, and denial of basic human rights.
Those folk that represented by that casket, poor and low-wage workers who are the most moral people in this country because they go to work every day believing, even though going to work is hazardous to their health.
I'm tired of working 70 to 80 hours a week and still not have money for the necessity of bills. I'm tired of getting sick and not being able to go see the doctor, having to make a choice to pay between rent or the light bill or food or clothes.
You cannot claim to care about families and a culture of life and then do everything in your power to rob people of equal access to resources and to force them to live in poverty.
Leadership of both parties have waged war on poor people and low-wage workers.
And this government has treated people experiencing poverty, including their military families, with disdainful, deliberate, malicious neglect.
So the truth is that my son died from poverty.
We refuse to accept poverty as the fourth leading cause of death.
The fourth leading cause of death in this, the richest country in the world.
We march today for our children and the generations to come.
And we need to do it with the loudest voices possible, the biggest actions possible.
We will voice our demands and register our vote.
When we stand up and when we stand together, things change.
There is the electorate that is, and then there is the electorate that should be.
34 million eligible poor and low-income voters did not vote in 2016. If just 20% of those voters in swing states were mobilized around an agenda, they could change the political outcome of every election. So we're launching the most massive voter mobilization and turnout campaign in history of poor and low-wage voters, allies, and religious leaders.
People are dying, but we know it doesn't have to be this way. And so we are calling on everyone to join us in this Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
We are here, we will be seen, we will be heard, and our power will be felt. We don't need to be an insurrection. We are a resurrection that will be felt across this country. Are you ready? Ready, ready, ready. We are a resurrection, and we are ready.
And we won't be silent anymore.
Farquhar, executive producer of Proud Family.
Bruce Smith, creator and executive producer of The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, 3 black men are suing American Airlines for being wrongfully removed from a flight with 5 other black men. This took place in January. Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, and Xavier Neal were on a flight from Phoenix to New York City. They claimed that they, along with 5 other black men, were removed from the flight without any valid reason based solely on their race. The 8 black men were told to leave the plane and return to the gate to be rebooked for another flight. Upon exiting the plane and returning to the gate, the men learned that someone on the flight complained of body odor. Jackson, Joseph, and Ville say they were never told they had body odor. The lawsuit says it appears to plaintiffs that American had ordered all of the black male passengers off the plane. None of the men knew each other, nor were they seated together. Lauren Bateman is one of the plaintiff's attorneys. She joins us now from D.C. So, Lauren, this is quite strange here to order 8 black men off the plane because somebody complained about body odor when the 8 weren't even together. What the hell?
That's right. It's completely inexcusable. And we know that this is a clear case of race discrimination for precisely the reason that you say, that a flight attendant was going not to a specific area, theoretically targeting where an odor might be coming from, but rather systematically selecting every single black man aboard the flight and removing them from the flight. And what's more, we have on video 2 American Airlines representatives agreeing with our clients that this act was discriminatory and that they were targeted based on the color of their skin.
So what has been the response thus far of American Airlines?
American Airlines has issued a sort of canned PR response, but we haven't heard anything further from them. And so our clients are really eager to hear what the airline has to say for themselves.
Now, look, American Airlines had issues in the past with complaints of discrimination. And so you would think they would be a hell of a lot more aggressive in responding to this. But going back to this here, so they removed 8 black men. I mean, what other rationale is that where they weren't even together?
Yeah, we can't think of one. It's clearly that these individuals were targeted on the basis of their race, and they removed what appeared to be every single black man aboard the flight. It's really impossible to imagine how humiliating and degrading that is for our clients who experience this treatment.
So where does it stand in the lawsuit?
Well, the complaint was filed and will await American Airlines' response.
Have you heard from any other passengers on this flight who were shocked and appalled by this decision?
We have, and I think that brings to mind an important point, which is that when the mostly white passengers remained on board while our clients were trying to figure out what was going on, the pilot announced to the people remaining on board that the men were removed because of a body odor issue. So clearly this compounds the humiliation, the degradation, the trauma. I mean, imagining our clients going back on the plane with a sea of white faces looking at them with undue suspicion, it's really heartbreaking to think about.
And the pilot made that comment, and it lends the impression that they were saying all 8 had body odor.
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, Lauren, we certainly appreciate it. We'll see what happens next in this case.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you so very much. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Be sure to support us in what we do, folks. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. You can send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 37-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be sure to download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Also, folks, be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available at bookstores nationwide. Get the audio version on Audible. And I've got less than 200 copies of my book from 2009 called The First, President Barack Obama's Road to the White House. If you want a personally autographed book, folks, go to RolandSMartin.com/The First. I've cut the price to $10 plus $7.99 shipping and handling. And so, again, I'm personally autographing each one of the copies. And again, once they're gone, they're gone. There will be no reprinting. There'll be no reissuing. And so if you want me to personally autograph one to you, you can get your order in now. RolandSMartin.com/The First. I'll be right back.
A lot of y'all have been asking me about the pocket squares that we have available on our website. You see me rocking the Shabori pocket square right here. It's all about looking different. Now look, summertime is coming up. Y'all know, I keep trying to tell fellas, change your look, please. You can't wear athletic shoes every damn wear. So if you're putting on linen suits, if you're putting on some summer suits, have a whole different look. The reason I like this particular pocket square, the Shabori, is because it's sort of like a flower. and looks pretty cool here versus the traditional boring silk pocket squares. But also I like being a little different as well. So this is why we have these custom-made feather pocket squares on the website as well. My sister actually designed these after a few years ago. I was in this battle with Steve Harvey at Essence, and I saw this at a St. Jude fundraiser. I saw this feather pocket square, and I said, well, I got some ideas. So I hit her, and she sent me about 30 different ones. And so this completely changes your look. Now, some of you men out there, I had some dudes say, oh, man, I can't wear that. Well, if you ain't got swagger, that's not my problem. But if you're looking for something different to spruce up your look, fellas, ladies, if y'all looking to get your man a good gift, I've run into brothers all across the country with the feather pocket squares saying, see, check mine out. And so it's always good to see them. And so this is what you do. Go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. You can order Shibori pocket squares or the custom-made pocket squares. Now, for the Shiboris, we're out of a lot of the different colors, and I think we're down to about 200 or 300. So you want to get your order in as soon as you can, because here's what happened. I got these several years ago, and the Japanese company signed a deal with another company, and I bought them before they signed that deal, and so I can't get access to any more from the company in Japan that makes them. And so get yours now. So come summertime, when I see y'all at Essence, y'all could be looking fly with the Shibori pocket square or the custom-made pocket square. Again, RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. Go there now.
Hello, I'm Paula J. Parker. Truly proud on the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder on Disney+. And you're watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
I was Michigan State, locked in.
All right, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered here on the Black Start Network. I am here in Atlanta, of course, participating in Steve Harvey Golf Tournament. So look forward to doing that today. Folks, let's talk about Merrick Garland, the Attorney General. He went before the crazies in the House. That, of course, they had another one of those nutcase committee hearings. And they have been accusing the Department of Justice of all kind of wrongdoing because all they're doing is sucking up to Donald Trump. And so here's some of the stuff that A.G. Garland had to say.
Let me be clear. If anyone threatens public servants with violence, we will hold them accountable. And we will continue to protect our democratic institutions like this one and to bring to justice all those criminally responsible for the January 16th attack on our democracy. As Attorney General, I will continue to forcefully defend the independence of the Justice Department from improper influence or interference of any kind. And I will continue to fiercely protect the integrity of our criminal investigations. Nothing will deter me from fulfilling my obligation to uphold the rule of law. Fulfilling that obligation includes ensuring that the Justice Department respects Congress's important role in our democracy. That is why we have gone to extraordinary lengths to ensure that the committee gets responses to its legitimate requests for information. That is why I have provided the committee with Special Counsel Herr's report, why the Special Counsel testified for more than 5 hours, and why we have gone beyond precedent to provide the committee with the transcripts of the Special Counsel's interview with the President. But we have made clear that we will not provide audio recordings from which the transcripts that you already have were created. Releasing the audio would chill cooperation with the department in future investigations, and it could influence witnesses' answers if they thought the audio of their law enforcement interviews would be broadcast to Congress and the public. Now, in response, certain members of this committee and the Oversight Committee are seeking contempt as a means of obtaining, for no legitimate purpose, sensitive law enforcement information that could harm the integrity of future investigations. This effort is only the most recent in a long line of attacks on the Justice Department's work. It comes alongside threats to defund particular department investigations, most recently the special counsel's prosecution of the former president. It comes alongside false claims that a jury verdict in a state trial brought by a local district attorney was somehow controlled by the Justice Department. That conspiracy theory is an attack on the judicial process itself. It comes as individual career agents and prosecutors have been singled out just for doing their jobs. It comes as baseless and extremely dangerous falsehoods are being spread about the FBI's law enforcement operations. And it comes at a time when we are seeing heinous threats of violence being directed at the Justice Department's career civil servants. These repeated attacks on the Justice Department are unprecedented and they are unfounded. These attacks have not and they will not influence our decision-making. I view contempt as a serious matter, but I will not jeopardize the ability of our prosecutors and agents to do their jobs effectively in future investigations. I will not be intimidated, and the Justice Department will not be intimidated. We will continue to do our jobs free from political influence, and we will not back down from defending democracy.
Congressman Eric Swalwell was sick and tired of the sheer hypocrisy of the Republicans, so he let it rip.
Even states' rights, except when a jury in that state convicts your nominee for president, you might be in a cult. If you claim you back the blue but want to defund the police when the police go to your nominee's house to retrieve national security secrets, you might be in a cult. If you're supporting a guy whose felony convictions prevent him from getting a security clearance, you might be in a cult. And if the guy you're supporting for president has felony convictions that prevent him from going to Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Cambodia, Canada, Chile, China, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Egypt, Ethiopia, Hong Kong,
my motion
India,
takes precedent.
Indonesia, Iran, Ireland, Israel, Japan, Kenya, Macau, Malaysia, Mexico, Morocco, Nepal, New Zealand, Peru, Philippines, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, Taiwan, Tanzania, Tunisia, Turkey, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, and the UK,
the gentleman
might
from
be in a cult.
Kentucky is recognized for 5 minutes. I'm asking the gentleman.
I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman has unanimous consent.
I mean, look, Larry, you sort of get tired of having to deal with these pathetic people. So, look, and I keep saying this, Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. Nah, you got to knock asses out.
No, I all due respect to Michelle Obama, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in that. I'm from Philadelphia, old school union, blue collar union town, and also trained by an old school CBC member. And you got to give it to them when it's time to give it to them. And listen, I think some Democrats, and not only in this committee, others have done a really good job in challenging some of the nonsense and highlighting the hypocrisy. And so, Roland, we're in a really interesting time in this country. Obviously, we talk about election coming up, but it's really important that Democrats continue to highlight the utter insanity and the daily contradictions you get from Republicans. And as he mentioned, if you're all about supporting law enforcement, but also to highlight not only in terms of defunding the police, but what happened on January 6th. And, and also look what happened last week. You heard Republicans repeatedly talk about how the former president of the United States is been sandbagged. But the reality is, stop committing crimes in different jurisdictions and you won't find yourself in a situation. But the Democrats have to continue to do this. And I also encourage President Biden himself to make sure publicly he highlights a lot of this hypocrisy. Obviously, he did some of that today. But I think he's got to do that more forcefully. And he just can't leave it up to members of the House and Senate. If he wants to, when he wants to, be reelected, he's going to have to be more forceful and highlight some of the contradictions that, you hear from, Republicans in House and Senate. And then, what actually policies they support. And then obviously the policies that American citizens care about.
Joy, what we have here are Republicans who don't want to do any work. What they think is work are these useless hearings. I mean, let's hold Garland in contempt. Let's impeach Biden. They've got nothing to do. They impeached Mayorkas, the head of Homeland Security. That went nowhere in the Senate. I mean, all of this is all show. No policy, no bills, just hearings. Listen to crank crazy ass Jim Jordan and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jim Comer, and the rest of these idiots.
I mean, I want to apologize to previous Congresses, which we used to call the do-nothing Congress. This Congress really, truly does win the battle for who can do the least and waste the most of the American people's money. I've just been, no child who's watching this should think this is the way our government should actually work. These folks have nothing to show for it. And on a previous show you had several months ago, we highlighted a Republican member who said the same. They have done absolutely nothing. Make no mistake, we could actually do things in this Congress. There are things that are bipartisan that we can actually have wins on. We just talked about one of them, immigration. We had a bipartisan deal and we couldn't get it done because they walked away from the table. And let me be clear, Republicans walked away from the table. People who are in the majority in the House walked away from the table. People who were in the minority in the Senate walked away from the table. So we have a problem here. If you want to have any of the things that you care about, if you want to have George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, if you want to have comprehensive immigration reform, if you want to have reproductive health, you've got to vote these clowns out. Because at some point, it's not about them. It's about us. We are choosing these people, and not the folks on this call, but the people who are voting for them in their district, and more importantly, the people who are not voting for good alternatives to them in their district. This is what matters. We can't just have someone in the White House. We have to have partners in Congress, because these clowns, they ain't it.
And Mustafa, that's what it is. It's a clown show. And whenever they have them, it is in town, and you can't take them seriously. And again, when you have their own members saying they ain't done jack, okay, believe them.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've labeled these folks as clowns. I'm very strategic. But also, I think most people in America would love to be able to not do any work and get paid over $187,000 a year, to just show up and to pontificate and not to actually do any significant work, where most people have to go grind, work 2-3 jobs, lucky if they can make $80,000, $90,000 working 3 jobs, and not have these same types of dynamics. This is all strategy. These folks understand that if they can create chaotic situations, if they can pull the attention away from what's currently going on with Donald Trump and all of the egregious things that he's done, then maybe they'll have a shot. So instead of actually creating policy like both Larry and Joy talk and actually doing some work, they're busy with these smoke screens. They know there's nothing there, but they want to continue. Now, the other part of it is that we actually take an oath. I took the oath, a number of other people, to make sure that we were protecting the country from enemies, both foreign and domestic. So when they do these types of things, they take and put sensitive issues on the table, and they put individuals in harm's way. So I would surmise that they are also helping to strengthen the folks who would like to do damage inside of our country. So we need to pay attention. And as Joy said, you got to vote. If you're tired of this clown show, if you're tired of the ineffectiveness of the individuals who are making over $187,000 a year, then give them something else to do by replacing them on Capitol Hill with individuals who actually want to do the work.
Yep, because they don't want to actually do any of the work, and you've got just the crazies there. I swear, I just want to gag every time Marjorie Taylor Greene opens her mouth or appears on the screen, because she really is
truly despicable individual. So it's just like, I can't even deal with it. All right, y'all. Hold tight 1 second. We come back. These fake electors, these fake Trump electors, 3 of them have been charged in Wisconsin. We'll give you those details. Also, the Black Wall Street Legacy Festival took place over the weekend in Tulsa. Anthony Hamilton performed. I'm going to show you some sights and sounds from that. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. To the White House. We got about 500 copies of the book available. All right, I'm going to come back. This actually is all of the coverage of the 2008 election. But the other thing is this here. I talked to folks like Malik Yoba, Hill Harper, Erica Alexander, Kevin Lau, Spike Lee, Tatiana Ali. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff in here as well, where I talked about some of the stuff that went down at CNN. Also, when you go through here, a lot of the photos that you see in here, photos that I actually shot, photos that were my time at CNN. And so what I decided to do, because one, I published the book and I own it myself, is that so I said, you know what, I'm going to slash the price to $10. I'm not reprinting the book. So once we are sold out of these 500, that's it. They're gone. So you can go to RolandSMartin.com/the-first to get a copy of this book. Everybody who orders this book through the website, not on Amazon, only through RolandSMartin.com. I will personally autograph and mail you a copy of this book. It's all of the covers, the actual interviews that I did with him. And just to show you, of course, when it came out, there's actually even in here the interviews that I did with him and Michelle Obama, which won TV One cable network's its first 2 NAACP Image Awards. And so all of that for $10, go to RolandSMartin.com the first and order your copy today.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
Hi, I'm Jo Marie Payton, voice of Sugar Mama on Disney's Louder and Prouder Disney Plus, and I'm with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
All right, everybody keeps focused on, of course, the shenanigans of Donald Trump, but what about those fake electors that he was supporting? Well, as Wisconsin, the Attorney General there, Josh Call, filed felony forgery charges against 2 attorneys and an aide who helped submit paperwork falsely saying that Donald Trump had won the battleground state in 2020. Kenneth Chesbrough, Jim Troupis, and former Trump aide Mike Roman allegedly delivered Wisconsin's fake electoral paperwork to a Pennsylvania congressman's staffer to get them to then Vice President Mike Pence on January 6, 2021. All 3 are due in Dane County Circuit Court on September 19th. Chesbrough pled guilty in October to 1 count of conspiracy to commit filing false documents in the Georgia case. See, Joy, the thing that I think people need to remember is that these people had a very clear and concise and orchestrated plan to steal this election. You had people like Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson was involved. You see this here. They were talking about the Pennsylvania congressman. I think his name is escaping me. And so what you had these individuals, I mean, they were absolutely going to try to steal this election. That was their goal. And Chesbrough, he's already, of course, indicted. He pled guilty in Georgia. Now he's facing this in Wisconsin. All of these idiots are going to realize that they've screwed their lives up for sucking up to Donald Trump.
I mean, that's almost why I believe there has to be some cult moment here, because there's no reason why a sane person would trade in their livelihood, their freedom in some of these cases, their bar license, their self-respect for someone who, maybe they've never even met, certainly someone who doesn't even care for them, and, certainly someone that wouldn't even pay for their legal fees. There's to be something mental happening with these people, or there are just some bad people out there. And I think our greatest challenge is that sometimes we don't believe that there are folks out there like this who don't want to play fair, who will simply take the election, who just simply take it. And they are the same people who will do so again. And that is why it's so critical. If any critique, I would say, of the Justice Department is that I wish they had been more aggressive even sooner. I'm thankful for what has been done by federal and state prosecutors, but I wish that we could have been faster and even more aggressive so that we could have a true deterrent effect for people going forward. Donald Trump will get you incarcerated, will have you lose everything that you have amassed, because we have to get their family members to put pressure on them as well, to not engage in schemes that not only defraud the American people and try to undermine our Constitution, but also might land them in legal hot water and in some cases jail. We have got to create that deterrent effect. I think we're doing it now, but I think we could have been even stronger about it.
Well, I think Joy makes a great point here, Mustafa. And unfortunately, look, I think that if Biden had chosen Doug Jones versus Merrick Garland, you would be a lot more aggressive on the federal level. But these are state investigations. We're seeing, this is Wisconsin. Obviously, we see what's happening in Georgia. You also have a state attorney general in Arizona that's being very aggressive as well. And this, again, for all the people out there who keep ignoring the reality of these elections, if you don't have Letitia James as attorney general in New York State, if you don't have this attorney general in Wisconsin, if you don't, and the attorney general in Arizona was barely elected, you don't have these actions. That's why those races matter too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, snaps to everything that Joy just laid down, because I agree with the commentary was shared. The other part is you got to vote. Everybody keeps talking about Biden and Trump, and yes, that's an important focus of an election, but it is about what's happening in your state and on your county level and on the local level. So if you want to have these individuals who are willing to stand up for justice inside of your respective states, then you got to vote for them. They need your help. I mean, you do your own analysis. You say, is this the type of person who believes in the things that I believe in? And I know that they will also follow the letter of the law. Why do we need people who follow the letter of the law? Well, currently we're living in a country where Trump has poisoned all of our systems, to be quite honest with you, our judicial system, a number of the other systems that we have. So we've got to have checks and balances. The states is one of the places that you can have those checks and balances, but you got to get engaged and you got to vote. It's the only way that you can begin to extract. Some people say that, that you actually need an exorcism to get all of this negativity and evil sets of actions that have been going on. If you don't believe spirituality side of the equation, then just make sure that you're voting to make sure that we have the individuals that are necessary to uphold the letter of the law.
Larry?
So, Roland, I believe in law and order. And, if you're not following the law, you should go to jail. Is that how the Republicans do it? Because this is a criminal enterprise we've been dealing with the last couple of years. Let's just call it what it is. And you're right, the efforts to overthrow the government. And so a few years ago, the last election cycle, we had insurrection attempt 1.0. And without a doubt, what you hear, and not just the Project 25 stuff in terms of Trump wins the election, but while we think these folks will be deterred, you can be assured there will be some kind of attempt 2.0 variation if Donald Trump doesn't win the election. Without a doubt, we're going to see it. We can see all the rhetoric we see from a lot of these right-wing governors, attorney generals, et cetera. So there's going to be some kind of attempt to circumvent the election if Biden wins. But you have to hold these folks accountable, because for years, all I heard is in terms of Black community and racial stereotypes for years. Now, so if you don't want to follow the law, you should go to jail and you should suffer the consequences, including losing your law license, and anything else that goes at any jobs you may have, offers, opportunities you have, should be gone. Because once again, if you believe in law and order, then that should be consistent, including upholding our democracy. So I look forward to, continue to file these cases, like you said, this one, the one in Arizona, among others, and those individuals, facing the consequences for their own actions.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that is exactly what needs to happen. All right, folks. Black and Missing. Jenna Gilmore has been missing from her Philadelphia home since April 23rd. The 15-year-old is 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighs 150 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information about Jenna Gilmore should call the Philadelphia Police Department at 215-686-3220, 215-686-3220. Folks, Sean Diddy Combs has sold his majority stake in his cable network Revolt, and the equity has been bought out by employees. The announcement was made today, of course. Sean Combs launched Revolt in 2013, has owned it for the last 11 years. He stepped down as chairman in November after a series of sexual misconduct lawsuits and allegations, beginning with his ex, Cassie Ventura. Revolt CEO Detavio Samuels said having the employees as shareholders was one of their goals. Again, the majority of Revolt's employees, about 80% whom are people of color, are now the company's largest shareholder group. The initial value of Diddy's share in the company is reportedly unclear, but y'all know I got good sources. It's about $50 million. So see now what happens with Revolt coming soon. All right, Joy, Larry, Mustafa, that is it for the panel. I certainly appreciate y'all being on today's show. Thank you so very much. Look forward to having y'all back on the show. Gotta go to a break. We come back. Black Wall Street Legacy Fest took place on Saturday in Tulsa. I'll show you what took place. So we come back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support us in what we do. Join the Brina Funk Fan Club. Send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
We look at all of the best mans, the movies, and then, of course, series on Peacock. Why do you think it resonated so well?
Well, I think it's a reflection of us. You know, I think it's a reflection of authentic black people, the way they see themselves. And in some instances, aspirationally so.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie. Being of service to others is one of the greatest callings in life. But being there for someone else in their time of crisis is a whole new level, and you have to bring courage, commitment, and strength. On our next show, we meet two real-life angels who were thrust in the midst of caregiving and without warning.
And he was looking strange and couldn't cut his meat. And it was very odd. And I said, well, what's wrong? And he says, I think I've had a stroke. And so, of course, it scared me. And we literally got in the car and he walked into the hospital on a Thursday. And by Saturday of that same week, he lost all control of his left side.
The blessings, the challenges, and the way they maintain their balance, all next on A Balanced Life on Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Jamia Pugh. I am from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, just an hour right outside of Philadelphia.
My name is Jasmine Pugh. I'm also from Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
All right, folks. Over the weekend, I was in Tulsa on Saturday for the Black Wall Street Legacy Festival. It is a celebration. It commemorates also the Tulsa Race Massacre that took place 103 years ago. There were all-day events going on, concerts there across from the Greenwood Center in It was a great time had by all. Anthony Hamilton was the headliner, and so I got an opportunity to MC the whole event. Shout out to Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, as well as the Crutcher Foundation, of course, which is a sponsor of the event. A lot of things that they're trying to do, raising money for a national monument. I'm going to have her on the show to talk about that as well. So, but I have a camera there, and of course, I decided to stroll through the crowd, chatting and joking with people, and also y'all get to, experience Anthony Hamilton, some of this as well. And so, hope y'all enjoy. Hey, what's happening? All good. Hey, what's up? What's happening? Get off the phone. Get off the phone. What's happening?
Nice to see you.
Y'all good?
Yes.
All right. What's up, Doc? Y'all good? All right. You eating that fish? What's going on?
Hey. Hi.
Y'all just chilling?
Yeah, we're just chilling, baby. Legacy fans, hey.
There's no place. What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? You got the fish.
I do. You want a piece?
You got enough tartar sauce?
I do. I'm liking it.
I'm just chilling, you know. At 11 I represent. It ain't that hot you need that umbrella. It ain't that hot you need that umbrella.
Man, my wife had it, so I had to take it from her.
What?
My wife had it, so I had to get it.
Oh, right. Oh, right. She had it. How you doing? You good? Just chilling? All right. Oh, so you just gonna bring your own shade, huh? You gonna bring your own shade. See, look at you. Got your own little shade. What's up, y'all? What's happening? Good, chilling. What's happening? How you doing? What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? Y'all chilling? Just hanging out?
Listen to you every day.
Try to give him a little hell every day. Huh?
Thank you.
Somebody gotta do it. Somebody gotta do it. You know it. Y'all be well. What's happening? What's going on?
You was talking about me up there.
Huh?
You was talking about me up there.
How so?
You said, I see you ain't practiced your stroke. Why you say that? I was out there getting it. You're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to have my back. You're supposed to support me.
I speak truth.
It wasn't me you was watching then.
When I see it, I'ma say it.
It wasn't me you was watching then.
I see it, I'ma say it. Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey, we got something in common.
What's that?
You went to Texas A&M, right?
Yep.
My baby boy down there. He's a star private student.
Oh, okay. All right. Hopefully they play a lot better this year. I hope so. What's happening? What's happening? What's going on? I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here. What's happening? You good? All right. That's fine. Give it that. I got it, baby. Say my first rodeo.
Roland Martin!
Oh, no, ain't no video.
Hey! Thank you.
Y'all good? What's happening? You kick somebody?
No, my Achilles heel is torn.
You trying to play basketball?
What a trick.
See? You should have retired. Why you trying to run track at your age? Y'all black people be tripping out. That's why you in that damn booth right now. Trying to run with them young kids. That's what happened, huh?
Yeah.
See? And for the next 9 months, you in that damn booth. I bet you ain't running track after this, huh? Yeah, I thought so. What's happening? What's happening? What up?
I'll see you at NABJ.
Huh?
I'll see you at NABJ.
I'll be there.
I'm a reporter with the CBS affiliate here.
Oh, cool. All right.
Can I take a picture with you?
Yeah, come on. What?
Can you be nice?
No.
My please.
That's boring. That's boring.
Welcome to Tulsa.
Why am I gonna be nice? That's boring.
It's the alpha thing to do.
No, I'm gonna give everybody hell. Get off the phone.
My sister-in-law.
Get off the phone.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
Brittany, where your ass at? Brittany. Brittany. Brittany, where you at?
She lost.
Brittany, how in the hell you lost, Brittany? Brittany, are you not from here?
Yes.
Brittany, how in the hell you from here, but you don't know where you going? Brittany, do you know who you talking to?
No.
Brittany, this is Roland Martin. This is Roland Martin. Her ass said who twice. Brittany, this is Roland Martin.
She young.
Host of Roland Martin Unfiltered.
She's killing her, getting her
Roland
nerves.
Martin, I'm the stage MC. and you don't know who Roland Martin is? But Brittany, everybody gonna know who you are, because I got 4 million followers and I'm videotaping this right now. And Brittany, when you finally get your ass here, I'm gonna call you out from the stage. Okay, so all y'all who watching the video, that's the photo of Brittany. Y'all see Brittany right there? Brittany, you need to go to damn Instagram and you need to follow me at Roland Martin and Twitter. And you need to go to my YouTube channel. You can't be walking around here not knowing who the hell I am, Brittany. No, not Roland. Roland. My Instagram handle is Roland S. Martin. Brittany. Yeah, Brittany. All right, I'm gonna give your sister the phone back so you can figure out how in the hell to get here because you're late. All right, hold on. Yes, sir.
Cortez Johnson, chip on bass guitar. Y'all clap your hands if you will. And this is the youngster of our group right here. I always mess with him like this. I've been watching him on YouTube since he was like 3, 4, 5. Drum set bigger than him. Cymbals taller than him. Drumsticks.
All right, so Anthony, you're here. Of course, 103rd anniversary of Tulsa Race Massacre, Black Wall Street Legacy Festival. Tiffany Crutcher, they put in. Just your thoughts just about being here in Tulsa.
Well, you know, being here on soil where so much happened, where we had built up such an amazing city and wealth for ourselves, to be here now that it's gone, man, to celebrate what we lost and to celebrate the spirit of the people. Always something I want to be a part of.
Tiffany, of course, y'all have really tried to get folks focused on what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. The Black Wall Street Legacy Fest, this is our 4th year. We birthed it during the centennial, during the 100th year. And it's really just not about concerts. It is about, this is our rally cry. This is our rally cry. You know, we're fighting for the living survivors. Mother Randall, Mother Fletcher, who is 110, 109. We're fighting for my family. I'm a descendant of Black Wall Street, and this city has not done right by us. And so this is really a platform for us to continue our fight for justice and reparations here in the Black Mecca, Black Wall Street.
DeMario?
And no question, we're just excited to have our brother Anthony Hamilton here to help spread this word. Have you heard, Roland? Because this is a day of remembrance. This is a crime scene right where we're standing right here, where thousands of our people lost their homes, they lost their businesses, and many lost their lives. But we're still here, we're still fighting to fight the odds, obstacles and obstacles. And as Tiffany said, we're looking for justice and reparations, not just for the people here in Tulsa and our survivors and descendants like Tiffany, but for all of Black America. Because once we get what we need back here in Tulsa, it will springboard across this nation for our reparations movement nationwide.
And can I say shout out to Tamika Mallory, my sister, my sorority sister, for making this happen. She made a call and Anthony came. And so I love her. Shout out to the Terrence Crutcher Foundation. We're still fighting for justice with my twin brother, who was killed by a police officer with his hands in the air, with DeMario and Ben Crump. And just shout out to the Black community. We love you all. And Roland, thank you for always answering the call when Tulsa calls. Thank you so much. We love you.
Shout out to Dr. Tiffany Crutcher for making this happen, making purpose through her pain and losing her twin brother. We're still fighting that case. We're fighting for reparations. We're fighting for Black Creek citizenship, and we're going to continue to fight. But tonight, we're going to have some fun listening to our brother Anthony Hamilton.
That's right.
And Anthony, last point, you in Gap Band territory.
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of the Gap Band. You know, Charlie's a good friend of mine, man, and the rest of the guys are amazing, man. And every time I can be a part of anything they got going on, it's always a good thing.
All right, my brother, always good to see you.
Always good to see you too, man.
Y'all want to take it back one time? Let's take it back to 2003, 2004, 2005. about the hard days she can do to make that. All she needs for me to sitting waiting on you to go. I won't leave. Promise I'll be everything. Then I promise I'll be
about blackness and what happens in black culture. We're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind $100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.